Hey there friends, welcome back. I am working in our home garden today. It is an absolutely beautiful day in Northeast Pennsylvania. It has the whisperings of fall. I love it. This is a great day. I have a long list of things I need to harvest today, but the first thing on my list is sunflowers. And I thought it might be a good idea to show you how I harvest. We've gone through seeding and transplanting and growing the sunflowers, but maybe the most important step, aside from seeding and transplanting, is the harvest and how to care for these flowers once you have harvested them. If you harvest a lot of sunflowers like I do, you need to make that task as efficient as possible. If you've ever harvested a sunflower, you know that whatever stem length you're looking for, you're gonna have a lot of bigger leaves that you are gonna need to take care of. So before I knew better, I would snip the stalk and then snip the leaves off. But when you're harvesting buckets and buckets of sunflowers, that is just a huge time sink and just not good for anybody. So what I have started doing is whatever row I'm working on, I will take a walk through that row, strip the leaves off of each sunflower that I am planning to harvest, and then I can go back through very quickly and harvest all those sunflowers and not have to worry about taking the leaves off as I'm going or once I get them in the bucket, which is just totally inefficient. So all you need, get yourself a glove, just on one hand, hold with one hand near the flower. Isn't that satisfying? It really is. It really is. So it's a little windy, my camera's probably gonna blow over, but I'm gonna work my way through the rest of this row, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to cut and we'll talk about that. Now that I have finished stripping the foliage from the flowers that I am ready to cut, I'm gonna grab my bucket and my snips and get to work. Since I don't have to deal with the leaves, I can now cut my first one to my length that I want, and now I can measure it up on the next one. Can you see that? And now I've got two in my hand. Let's see how many I can get. Okay, so not having to deal with those leaves allows me to hold at least 10 sunflowers in my hand at one time before I'm having to make a trip to the bucket. I'm happy with that. If you remember from previous videos, I plant my sunflowers very close together within the row, and also early on in the season I will do two seeds to a cell, so I get a nice size sunflower head. Now this one is a little bit big. This is about the biggest I want to see, so about the size of my hand, a little bit smaller than my hand. This guy is perfect, about the size of my palm. I just want to take a moment to talk about that so you can see, you've seen the start of the process, talking about spacing and seeding different things and how it affects the size, and here it is. We put it in practice. I'm gonna keep on harvesting, and then when I'm done, we will talk about the correct stage of harvest that I'm looking for based on what these sunflowers are gonna be doing for me. wiped out on a cucumber. Okay, Grace has joined the chat.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about stage of harvest and what I'm looking for when I am going through making my kind of evaluation of what I'm going to cut and what I'm going to leave. My goal with any flowers, any product that I put out, is I want to have the longest, I want to give my customer the longest possible base life that I can provide. And a lot of that depends on post-harvest handling and the stage when you are harvesting. So if I had to use these 2 buckets of sunflowers today to put some bouquets together to stock the stand, which I probably do, I am looking for an open stage. So I can tell that this flower is not old. The center is still nice and flat. If I'm harvesting at this stage, this flower is going into a bouquet pretty quickly, and hopefully it's getting out the door pretty quickly. I do have a cooler, so I am able to hold my produce and my flowers and keep it fresh, get the field heat off of it, which is a huge benefit. I know not everybody has that available, and I am very, very thankful to have that cooler because it is a big help, especially with flowers. This is the stage I'm looking for if I am harvesting flowers and I know that I can hold these in the cooler for a week without affecting their base life. Now, I should have cut one, but when a sunflower first starts to color up, you can see that color coming, and the petals are really, really tight, okay? This, you can see those petals are just starting to lift. So I don't want to pick when they're like this completely. I want to pick when they just start to look like that. When it looks like a duck, when it starts to look like a little duck bill, cut it, okay? Cut it, put it in the cooler, you're good to go. I like to harvest at this stage also because you can fit a lot more, you can fit more stems in a bucket, and they're not gonna like crumple the petals.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, you are. This is another one. So you can go anywhere from here to here. I'll bring this one back out. So any of these 3 stages, I'm good with. When it goes from this to this, I don't like that. This is too far gone. And you might think, oh, but Lauren, that still looks good. Yeah, I know, but hopefully you can see it. So like I said before, the center disc on this one is still nice and flat, even though that flower is completely open. I'm good with that because it has not started to do this, where it's kind of mounding. So this has been pollinated. This flower now is working on making seed. That's its job, right? I like the idea of U-picks, but I always cringe when you see pictures of these groups of flowers that are like this big and they're completely domed out, they're blown out, and you know that they're gonna drop petals and they're gonna droop in like 2 days. I don't know. Does that bother anybody else? It just drives me nuts. You're paying money to pick your own flowers, so I don't know. Pick them at the right stage to get the most bang for your buck. This ain't it, okay? All right. Yes. Yes, do you have a question?
Yeah.
What is it?
How do they disintegrate from which stage they're at?
So that's just how they age. So yes. So
they grow up.
They grow up. Yes, exactly. So the job of a flower, because it doesn't know any better, is to produce a flower. The bees come and pollinate, and then it makes seed so that it carries on. You know what I mean? So like, where's that one I just had? So if this was a baby,
Yeah.
this is the baby. This is a toddler, right? Like it can walk now.
Yeah.
And then this is an adult, a young adult. And then this one is an old maid. She's past her prime. Still pretty, but past her prime for our uses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, she's an old lady.
Yeah, she's an old lady. Do you have anything else you want to say about sunflowers? What is it?
Why are sunflowers different colors? Like, how do they change their color?
So they are different colors based on the seed type and the variety of the flower. Oh gosh, how do I explain this? You can mess with the seeds that a plant creates by pollinating them with other flowers. So there's different, remember we talked about pepper varieties the other day?
Yeah.
So these are different the different colors are different varieties of the same type of flower. So they're brothers and sisters or cousins
Or babies.
or babies. So this is called, each color has its own name. So this is called white light because the
Oh.
petals are white and the center is light.
White light.
This is a Proca orange, even though it's yellow, I know. Thanks for the great questions, Grace. You really think about things. I hope my explanations make sense to you.
They do.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. All right. We are headed on to our next item on our harvest list, which I think is going to be peppers. I hope that this little sunflower lesson was helpful for you and hopefully will make your harvesting a little bit more efficient. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you've not done so already, please take a moment to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our homestead happenings. And we will see you next time, right here on Hawn Acre.